The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
A Moiradic story that I think can all be mechazik us and set us on the right path how we're going to act this Hanukkah. In Tovshin Samaches, there was a Yid in Eretz Yisrael who became sick. A very chashuvas son of the big Maggid, Reb Menachem Stein. He became sick. He was a younger man. He had two little pitzalach kids, and he got sick. And the doctors gave him 3 months to live. But he was a soldier, and he fought, and he learned, and he kept learning with machla, and he kept on learning, and davening, and steiging, and tillim, and he defied the doctor's prognosis. And a year or two went by, the machla spread, and he kept on learning. And the doctors didn't understand that this guy's alive. And Lamaisa, it infected his eye, and they had to remove an eye, lo yaleinu. They removed an eye, and he had to get a patch, and he walked around with a patch over the empty eye. And he kept on keeping on, and he was being mechanech his kids, and he was putting in koiches, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu benched him, that he lived for 6 years with the machla. And during those 6 years, HaKadosh Baruch Hu benched him with 2 more children, another boy and a girl. And now he had 4 kinderlach, 3 boys and 1 girl, and lo yaleinu, he was nifta. And a lot of people sat shiva, his parents, his brothers and sisters, his wife, and the kids. A few years later, the kids were getting older, and the mother couldn't manage the house properly. She came to her father-in-law and said, "Would you mind if I remarry?" And they said, "We'd be so happy if you remarry." And they went and they found her a shidduch, and she, Baruch Hashem, got married. And the husband came in, and he was a great father to the kids, and everything was gewaldig. One year, in Tovshin Ayin Zayin, right before Hanukkah, one of Reb Menachem Stein's son, the Nifter's friends, went to sleep. And in his sleep, Reb Aryeh Stein, the Nifter, his good friend from years ago, came over to him and told him, "Reb Aryeh, how are you? I came to ask you a favor." "What's the favor?" "I have a boy, one of my sons. He's not doing well. He's not being so good, not striking the way he should. He doesn't have the same cheshek hatayra. He's not learning well. He's having issues. I want you to call my mother and tell my mother that I came to you in a dream, and I asked if she could please daven. And I know you daven for all your einiklach, but she should daven for this einikl extra. And tell her the matziv, she knows the matziv, but tell her that I said that I know the matziv. And this matziv is causing me a lot of tsar in Gan Eden. And I need you to please talk to her. And especially during Hadlokas Neiris, she should daven extra hard for this kid." In the morning, this friend of Rebbe Ria's woke up. It was a dream. Wow, what a crazy dream. But the truth was that a few weeks before that, the almana who remarried got a phone call from the principal and said, "We don't know what's going on with this kid. He was such a good boy. He always had a geschmack. He danced the cheder. He learned geschmack. He always got hundreds on his tests. And the last couple of weeks, he's getting a 30 on the test. He's not interested in the class. He walks in like he's being forced. And the mother says, I know. I see the way he's going to school. He's not interested in going to school. I don't know what to do. And she called her ex-Schwer and Schwieger, his grandfather, told him, we're having an issue with the kid. What are we supposed to do? And they spoke about getting him a chavrusa, to be mechazik him. And the friend of Rabbi Uriah lived life like nothing happened. But 2 days later, he got another dream. And his friend came back to him in a dream. And the friend tells him, I came to you, I asked you nicely. Please, go to my mother and ask my mother, tell her that I'm having issues with a kid and it's causing me tsar in Gan Eden. Please ask her to daven during Hadlakas Neiros that my kid should come and have cheshkas HaTorah and learn better and taka, turn a leaf for the good. He woke up from the dream. And he says, I don't understand. He has his father and his mother. They're alive. His father's a very chashuv yid. He's a big magid. He's mechazik thousands of people. Why can't you go to him? Go to your mother straight and tell her, ask her, what's the problem? Why are you coming to me? The whole thing doesn't make sense. Probably the reason why I had this dream again, it wasn't really a dream. I probably thought about the first dream before I went to sleep. And that caused me to have another dream. And that's why I'm dreaming this second dream of this thing happening. It really didn't happen. It was just because I thought about the dream in the afternoon or in the evening, so therefore I had the second dream. He did nothing. He didn't call the mother. He didn't call the father. He acted like it was a dream. It was a dream. But Chanukah is coming. Chanukah is Matzah Shabbos. And his friend is doing nothing. Friday night after the Suda, the friend was very tired and he told his wife he's having an early night. He went to sleep and a few minutes later he was sleeping and in his dream he gets a third visit from his friend. And the friend tells him, I don't understand you. Are you my friend or you're not my friend? What did I ask from you already? I asked you a simple favor. Call my mother and ask her to please daven for my kid that's not learning so good. Ask her that during Kadlokas Neiros she should cry and daven for the kid. That's all I'm asking you. You can't do that for me? I don't understand you. What are you doing? You know tomorrow night is Chanukah. And if you don't get it till you're going to miss it, I'm going to lose my chance. I'm in such tsar in Gan Eden. Have Rachmanis on me. Do something for me. I'm begging you. The friend turned to Rabbi Uriah and said, I don't understand. Why are you coming to me? Why didn't you just go straight to your mother? Your mother's alive. She's also sleeping now. Go to your mother. You need me to call your mother? He says, I can't go to my mother. I'm going to scare living daylights out of her. She's going to be so scared if I come to her in a dream. I can't do it to her. He says, so why don't you go to your wife? Your wife is taking care of the kid. Let her, tell her, ask her to daven. Ask her to tell your mother to daven. Why are you coming to me? I got to get mixed in over here. The friend says, you don't understand. My wife remarried. And after she remarried, I don't have permission anymore to go to her. I'm finished with her. I can't go to her anymore. But it's my kid. And it's causing me tsar. He takes one look at his friend and he says, Rabbi Uriah, what happened to your eye patch? You used to walk around the last few years with an eye patch. They took out an eye of yours. Where's the eye patch? He says, my dear friend, don't you realize the whole body of a person is like an envelope to a letter? It's a shmata on the neshama. I see 1,000 times better than you. when he finished saying these words, he woke up. His friend was gone, and he's up now. He looks at his watch. It's 12:30 Friday night. He's not going back to sleep. He's so shivering from the whole holachelech, from the whole shachla v'tarya that he had with his friend. He's so stressed. He's full of anxiety. He can't go to sleep anymore. He gets up. He goes to the dining room, puts on a bathrobe, and goes sits down, takes out a Tehillim, and he starts saying Tehillim. And he's crying. He says, let me say Tehillim for my good friend, Rebbe Uriah. Hadlakas Neiros is tonight. A few more hours. How am I going to get a hold of them? Then he realizes he has another problem. He's a chashuv guy. And he was machmer on himself. He doesn't do any malacha until Rabbeinu Tam, 72 minutes after Shkia. In Eretz Yisrael, everybody goes with the Go'inim. 20 minutes after Shabbos, the buses are going. Everybody's driving. The whole Shabbos is over. It's pitch black outside 20 minutes after Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael. But he's makbet to 72. He says, and what's going to be? I'm going to call them after 72, and they're going to be long after lighting the menorah. And I'm going to mess this whole thing up. And I feel so bad for my friend. He's counting on me. His poor kid is not learning good. He needs those tefillahs. He thought, and as the night went on, he came to a hachlata that when he was makabel on himself to keep Shabbos till 72, it wasn't for such a situation. Such a situation he could be makel. He never would have taken on this tefillah, this chumrah. In such a situation, he would be makel like the Go'inim. And Taka, a minute after the Go'inim's man, he took out his phone book and he got the number of his friend's father, Reb Menachem Stein, and he dialed the number. And it's ringing and ringing and ringing. And he calls back again and again. He says, I don't care if I call till tomorrow. I'm calling and calling and calling. I'm not stopping. Meanwhile, in the home of Reb Menachem Stein finished Shalosh Shuddis. He finished the late Shalosh Shuddis. Reb Menachem Stein keeps 72 also. And he's in shul davening. And in shul they lit the menorah. And now he comes home and he's going to light the menorah at home with his wife. And meanwhile, he walks into the door and his wife says, I don't know what's going on, but there's a man that's been calling our house from the second after the Go'inim's man. And he's calling and calling and calling. And I looked at caller ID. I don't recognize the number. I don't know who it is. Who knows what's going on? And Menachem said, don't worry, calm down. I'll take the telephone. He takes the telephone and he says, Agute Vach, Afreilich and Chaneke. This is Reb Menachem Stein. Can I help you? And he says, yes. I am a good friend of Reb Uriah, your son that was nifter a few years ago. And I want to tell you that the last week, your son came to me 3 times with an emergency. And I didn't realize that it was real until last night. And he tells him over the whole story. And he tells him that, he tells me that you have an anakel that's not doing well, that's not learning well. He says, how bad is it? Is he off the derech? He says, no, chas v'shalom. He's just lost cheshik in learning. He needs a little bit extra. He says, well, let me tell you something. He tells me that he's in Moiradik Tsar in Gan Eden because of it. And he needs one thing. He needs that during Hadlakas Neiros, your wife should cry and daven. He knows that she davens all day Einiklach, but she needs extra tefillas for this Einikel. And I was so nervous that I'm going to miss you. Did you light Neiros yet? He says, no, I didn't light Neiros yet. I just came home. And Avada, I'm going to give over the message, and we're going to take a daven, and we're going to take a cry extra, and we're going to do this thing that the kid should take a turn around. And Rabbi Isai, I'm talking to the mothers, I'm talking to the wives, I'm talking to parents, whoever it should be. I don't know what it is. I'm not malumed in the starim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it seems that during Hadlokas Neiris Chanukah is a tremendous Eis Ratzon. Cry, daven, beg Hashem for the chinuch of your children. We know that the streets today are so scary. It's a wild west out there. The things that are going on rips our hearts. We have so much pain from the gas. And the parents that have issues with their children are even more pain. We can't even imagine the pain that they're going through. And the truth is that the kids are also in terrible pain. They don't want to be like this. They're just pushed into a corner. They don't know what to do with themselves. So let's all daven for our own children, for other people's children, for all the children of Klal Yisrael. During Adlokas Neiris, while your husband is singing the Zmiris, while your husband's lighting the candles, let's daven and cry to Hashem that we should have the chusim, that the chinuch habanim and our daughters should take vaksais, the kederach Yisrael chatzaba. We should only have simchas and nachas and be a zman of geula v'yeshua la'ol miyad. Good job, Chanukah.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org